So in this video, I just want to take you through the Sudoku puzzle in the puzzle generator, how you can use it and how to make the most of the different features available to you. Now the first thing you do, obviously once you open PowerPoint, is make sure you have a completely blank slide. So if you do have any text boxes, any placeholders or anything like that on here, you'll need to delete them before running the puzzle. And then you choose your trim size up here. So I'm going to go for 8.5 by 11, which I'm already on here. And then after that, we go puzzles. We go to Sudoku. Now the first option we have here is the game explanation. So here it's just a quick how to play Sudoku. You can, of course, change this to your own explanation and include it, or keep it the same if you want. If you want to have it, just tick this little box here, which is to add the explanation. If you don't want it, just leave it unticked and click continue. Now here are the main settings for Sudoku. Now it's worth noting that you don't need to use the export tool for this particular puzzle. What you can do, however, is the levels here. You can translate in the export tool under the config page, and then you can translate them here, or you can add a different word if you wish. And if you change it, all you do is click main and then just click submit like that. So we go back to PowerPoint. Now the first option you have here is to choose the font and the styling and the color of the font. Here you'll have all the selection that you have in Office. I'm just going to stick with the default for now. Now the first option we have here is the grid title. So this will appear on top of every single Sudoku you generate. You can of course translate this or leave it blank, completely up to you. The next option we have is to start the numbering. So by default it's 1, and what will appear above each puzzle is, which we'll show you in a second, is Sudoku 1, Sudoku 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth. We'll come back to this a little bit later to explain circumstances that you might use that in. The next option we have is to choose a title size. So again, this is the Sudoku. Above each grid, how large do you want the font to be? And then here we have the option, so you can hide the titles and levels, hide just the titles, or hide just the levels. Again, I will show you how that looks when we generate a grid in a moment. The next option is to choose the difficulty level of the puzzle. So you can do all levels, easy, intermediate, hard, very hard, insane, and with kids you have 4x4 and 6x6. For now, I'm just going to show you easy. And it's worth noting with this, the harder the difficulty level you select, the longer it will take to generate a puzzle. This is because the higher difficulty you select, the more numbers get removed from the puzzle. And what the code does, it tries to brute force a solution to make sure that there is only one solution, and it is a valid Sudoku puzzle. So the higher the difficulty level is going to be a lot longer generation time for you, but we will show you that and you can see for yourself. The next option is the level size. So this appears above the grid on the left hand side. Again, we'll show you that in a moment. I'm going to stick with the default of 11. Now this option here, maximum numbers per puzzle. So this, you can only change this if you select the insane difficulty. And what this does is it forces the puzzle to have a maximum of the amount of numbers you put here. Now again, the lower the amount of numbers you put here, the longer it will take, and if you go too low, it could get stuck in a loop and go on and on and on for ages. So if you are new to setting a maximum numbers per puzzle, I would start at 30 and then I would gradually decrease that until you find a number where you're happy with the speed that it generates the puzzles at. So if we just go back to easy for now, this option we have here is these two options for the grid. This first option is for the sort of the 9 sections it creates, so the 3, 3, 3. The outside of those, so normally this is a lot thicker than obviously the inner grid, so I've got this set to 5, and here is the inner grid, so I'll just put that at 0.25. Now the next option we have is the page number. This is how many pages worth of puzzles do you want to create. For this example, I'm just going to leave it at 5. Now here we have the option of how many grids by page do you want. So obviously if you create 1 grid per page, then you'll have 1 solution, 2 grids per page, then you have 2 solutions per page, and so on and so forth. Now this option, just before the last option, is to create 1 grid by page and a varying amount of solutions. If you have this selected, it's worth noted that this will be grayed out. So if you're wondering why this is grayed out, you need to change this back to the dashes, and then you'll be able to choose a different amount of grids per page. I'm going to put that on 6 for this example. Now our final option, which of course is very useful when creating low content books for KDP, is to have a margin. So make sure that add left and right margins is ticked. You can go up to 1 inches on this, so just push 1. And there is another way you can get an even larger margin, but I will go back to that a bit later. So just for now, put 1, click OK. Just wait for the puzzles to generate now. The first page of puzzles is always the slowest, as it's creating tables as well. Once it's created the initial 6 tables, the rest of the generation will go a lot quicker and smoother. So let's just wait for this to complete. And now our puzzles are created. As you can see, we go through all the pages here. You can see all our puzzles and solutions. Now what you can do, now the puzzles are created, you have a bit more flexibility regarding the position of the puzzles. So for example, if I wanted to move these puzzles inwards, I'll just select all of the tables and text boxes on this side, and then what I can do on here is I'll do 0.2 and click right, and you see it moves them in. Do that again, once more, and then I can do the same on this. So again, if I select all of these, and I can move them into the left, do it twice more so it's equal. Now what this also does, it doesn't just apply it to this one slide. We can go through, and as you can see, it's applied to all the different Sudoku grids all the way through, including the solutions. Now as you can see here on here, we've got a little bit difficulty with the title. It's overlapping the difficulty level here. So what we can do, we just select all of the titles here, and then what we can do is try on 0.1, just move them up a little bit like that. So if we go back to solution, how's that? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. And what you can do, if you notice, there was quite limited in terms of the sizing when it comes to the difficulty, the level. What you can do here is you can change the sizing by using the change individual fonts here, and you can increase this up to 30. So I'm just going to do, let's do 18 for now. Click OK. There we go. Now we've got a larger difficulty, and as you can see, that has gone into the grid a little bit. So what we can do is, if we select these again, let's move them up a bit more, maybe even once more, I think, yeah. And then we select our difficulties, go up again, and let's center that. So let's try 0.5 to the right, bring that down a little bit, 0.1, 0.1. So as you can see, once you've created your puzzle, your Sudoku puzzles, you still have a lot of options to change the layout and set out your puzzles how you like, including changing the sizes of the fonts and stuff if you don't have the option in the default settings. And as you can see, as you go through, it applies those settings to all of your puzzles, including your solutions as well. So now we've done that, let's just delete all of those slides. Again, remember, you need to delete any placeholders like this, and then we'll go back to puzzles, back to Sudoku, continue here. And now I'm just going to show you different difficulty levels, the speed of them. Okay, so we'll quickly do the same again on easy, and then we'll do the others as well so you can compare the speed. So this is easy. We'll just do one page. Well, we'll do 2 pages because the first page always takes a little bit longer. So we do 1 page and 6 grids. This is just so you can get an idea for how long this should take. So again, remember, the first page will always take slightly longer. So that's our easy puzzles. This is our intermediate puzzles. You see a little bit slower. Just undo that. Here's our hard puzzles. again, just a little bit slower. And then Sudoku. Our very hard puzzles. Now, because these take longer to generate, rather than 6 grids per page, you can only do 4. But if I show you the comparison between very hard and insane, so click OK. Now you may find that quite a bit on the harder puzzles is that it will show not responding. It will still generate your puzzles, so don't worry. Just depending on the difficulty, it might stay on that screen for a little while. But please, if you leave it, it should complete with no problems. And then lastly, if I show you the insane difficulty. Now with the insane difficulty, this also opens the maximum numbers per puzzle here. Now again, if you are new to this, I would start on 30 and then gradually decrease the number until you get a number where you're happy obviously with the number and the time it takes to create it. So I'm just going to go with 28 quickly to show you. Again, on this difficulty setting, you only can do up to 4 grids per page. Let's show you that. So as you can see, it's already a lot slower. A lot slower. That's because it will keep randomly removing numbers and then trying to brute force a valid solution until there's only one valid solution to make a valid Sudoku. We've done our first page. Just waiting for our second page to finish. And as I said, this is a lot slower, and as you decrease the maximum amount of numbers per puzzle, you'll find that this will, the time it takes will grow massively. So again, make sure you start at 30 and then just gradually decrease the number one by one until you find a happy medium for yourself. It's also worth noting that this can vary massively because it is literally brute forcing. You might get a time where you find a valid puzzle very quickly, and another time this can take a lot longer. So please do bear that in mind when you're making Sudokus with this. There we go. our puzzles are complete, you see, and our solutions at the end. Now I just want to go over a few options that I glanced over earlier. So if you go back into here, now the hide feature here, so you see you've got hide titles and levels, or hide just titles or hide just levels. So if you select that, if you hide the title, then obviously the grids will appear like this. If you hide the level, it will appear like these two, and obviously if you hide both, and then you'll just have the grid like that. Now you may be wondering why you'd use that, or in what circumstances would that be useful. So I'm just going to show you a quick example of where you might like to use that feature. So for this example, I'm just going to go onto a square grid, trim size. So I'm just going to go for 8.25 by 8.25. And if we go into puzzles and we go into Sudoku, continue. Now for quickness, I'm just going to do easy. And let's do 20 grids, 1 grid per page. Now what I want to do, I'm going to hide both the titles and the levels here. Keep that on minimum, because what it does when you hide, it just hides it. So if you minimize the title and the level font size, the white space at the top will be smaller. So yeah, I've got 20. I'm not going to worry about the margins on this, and you'll see why in a second. So I'm going to untick that. And then, yep, my settings are good to go. So I'm just going to click OK. I'm going to wait for them to generate. Now, why would you want a Sudoku puzzle like this, you may ask? Well, the reason why you may like to create your puzzles like this is simply because of the bulk export and import tool here. Now what that will do, that will give you a lot more flexibility regarding how many Sudoku puzzles and solutions you want to display per page. So this is almost finished, and I'll just quickly show you. So that's generated. So click OK. See, we've got our 40 slides. So what I want to do then is I want to click export slides as PNG. And then, so what you can do here is you can break them into obviously your puzzles and then your solutions if you want to put a different amount on each page. So you do 1 to 20 and then do 21 to 40, and then you could import 1 to 20, say 6 puzzles per page, and then import 21 to 40 as 10 solutions per page. But just for this example, I'm just going to export them all in one go. I'll keep the image quality the same. I'll just wait for this. So here we're going to choose where we want to save. So if I save them here, just Sudoku easy. Go in here, click OK. Just wait for it to export them all. There we go. Now we've done that, I'm just going to just delete all of these. I'm going to create a blank new slide again. And I'm going to choose the trim size I want my my final book to be. So I'm going to go for 8.5 by 11. And then what I can do, I can go to bulk import images. And if I go to the folder I made earlier, click OK. Now you see here, I've got a lot more options. I can go from anywhere from 1 up to 20 images per slide. So as you can see, that offers you a lot more options when you're making your Sudoku puzzles to have either a lot more puzzles per page or a lot more solutions per page. So in this example, I'm just going to go with the maximum 20. Now here, as you saw in there, I hid both the title and the difficulty level. You can, of course, add a title in here if you wish. You choose your font and your font size as per normal. And here you can set the margins on the page. If you want to minimize the spacing between all of them, just tick this box here, attempt to optimize spacing. And then when you're happy with all your settings, just click OK. And then, as you can see now, I have 20 puzzles and 20 solutions per page. Now, obviously, this has numbered them all the way through. What you would want to do is import the puzzles first, if you're having a title, and then import the solutions after, and then you can have solution, and then it'll be solution 1, solution 2, and so on and so forth. Okay, I hope this video gives you a quick overview and a glance of how powerful the Sudoku puzzle generator is, and how you can get started creating your own books. Thanks for watching.